Welcome to a Keef Beat tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a energetic and futuristic Chief Keef type beat. So let's start off with the bass. So first of all, I have strings from Nexus, which sound like this. So yeah, and you see how I've like laid them out. This is kind of unusual because you usually do like this. You put them like so, like 2 spaces and 3 spaces, but here I've only have 1 space and then I have 4. So what I've done is like I've moved down the middle note 1 note and played around a little bit with that. You can also play around with it yourself. Like I recommend moving the middle notes to see where it fits. Yeah, so this is the base for the beat as well. So the other melody parts I usually build off of this one. So then I have some plucked melodies like this. Yeah, so that's just me playing around with the, because when I made the beat I could see the strings in the background because I hadn't split everything, and then I built this melody off of that, and this is just to add some more energy and like another melody part basically. Then I added a piano, which sounds like this. And if we compare these two, yeah, so this one is like all of the notes are in 6, and if you check the piano, like most of them are in 5, but they also go up to 6. And this is like most of them are in 5 because I didn't want all the melody parts to be in the same like key basically. So this is like a little darker, which when you have these many melody parts you don't want them to sound clogged together. So yeah, that's why I added it in 5 instead. So then we have the hits. These are like a mark as well in the beat. Like this is like one of those bass instruments or like bass melody parts, and it sounds like this. Yeah, and you see the notes is like C sharp 4 or like and C sharp 5, and I've done it for like every hit. And you can in the end over here it's a little bit more energetic because like it's 3 hits at like in a short period of time, to add energy at the end. And yeah, and as well I built this off of the strings. So when you make your own beat, if you haven't split everything, you will see the bass that is the strings, so you can build out of that. Then I added a guitar for some like very energetic, like this is used in the climax of the beat, so like the highlight or the best point. So it sounds like this. Yeah, and you see I only have like two of those because it takes up so much space and the energy is very high at the point where this is playing together with everything else. So yeah, this is like only here and then for the finish before you go into the verse. And then we have the quote unquote like futuristic sound, the oscillator, and it sounds like this. And this is like for the futuristic type of sound that Chief Keef has in many of his beats, where it's like it uses an oscillator to mark the futuristic style of the beat. Yeah, and this plays quite a lot as well. And I actually have ARP as well. Let's just hear it. So the ARP is just to fill out the sound. Even though I have so many melody parts, this connects them all together all the time. And I've built the ARP from the strings. So when you add your own ARP, you can go here and like, oh, you can see here, you have D5, C and G, and then you would drag all of these like over here, and then when it hits again where it changes up, you do the same thing with the ARP, and it will always like basically sound good. All right, let's move on to the drums. So yeah, so for the bass snare, it goes like this. Yeah, you can see here, like kind of basic, but it's a little bit more over here because Chief Keef usually has a lot of snares in his beats, so this is only the bass snare. Let's skip the triangle for now. So as you see, this doesn't hit every time as well. It only hits like every now and then, like, and this is only at the end for like a finish. And this is a different snare as well. So what this does is like it adds up more energy towards the end of the bar. But you don't want it to hit it every time though, because then it will be repetitive. And here is like the other snare, which goes a little harder. It sounds like this. Yeah, okay, not harder, but you know what I mean, like it hits more times. And this is for change up as well, because when there's a lot of snares that hit clean together, it will bring up the hype more, like the energy and the melody. And when you build your own snares, I would recommend like first you don't do all of this. First you like lay out notes like this in the same key where it sounds good, and then you can like move around in keys, or and then you can like you can take like this, drag it out like that, or like this. Then you go to how fast you want it to stack up. So if I do this 2, it goes like that, and if I want to do 4, it's even more. And you can just play around with that until you find what you like for the snare. I might actually do a snare tutorial, because the snares are kind of difficult to learn, I think, if you've never done this before. Anyways, now for the 808, I have 2 different. So what I do is, first of all, I go in here, and then I place out the 808 like this, where I want it to hit, like, so a basic pattern. Then I go into the piano roll. I click here, and it says quick legato. And what that does is like it drags out all of the notes till I hit the other. So yeah, and then I, as I've done the basic pattern, I go in and edit it. Like you see here, I've taken this up a little bit, and these at the end, it sounds like this. Yeah, and what I do then is just I go in here, I click here and clone, so it will clone it. So all the settings you've made in here will be cloned, so you don't need to do anything, because I'll go over the settings later. Or like yeah. And what you do then is you just go into the piano roll, you copy paste your 808.1, you go into 2 and paste it. But of course you edit the second one, so it's not too repetitive all the time. And this is how the second sounds. Yeah, you can add a kick as well. I usually don't use kicks a lot in Chief Keef beats, but what I do when I add kicks is just I go into the 808.1 and see where everything hits, and then I place the or basically I copy paste the 808 into the kick here. Then I drag everything down towards the C note, and then I make them short like this. And I just copy paste it for the other 808 pattern as well, and it will sound good. But I usually edit out so the kick isn't that hard, because I want the 808 to be more dominant in this. I have a crash as well. This is like a slow crash, so this one hits at the end for it to sound at the start of the new bar. And it sounds like this. So the sound would like play in the beginning of the next bar coming up. And then I have a vox. There's often like these types of voxes in Chief Keef beats. Yeah, you see it hits every here. Then we have the hi-hats. Kind of basic. Like I like to take out notes sometimes because it creates a different type of feel, and then I just cut some like down to this. Obviously you can go more crazy with the hi-hats, but I felt like the stuff that I've already done here is like it can get too much. I have a triangle here that I forgot to show, like hits like this. Yeah, very simple. Okay, what do we have more? What's this? Yeah, so this is like a riser that I've stretched, so it's like shorter, so it's like more speed and hyped, so you will hear it later. And then when the 808 drops, I got this explosion effects. Alright, so for the settings then. So what I usually do is I make the melody parts first, then I name them, and then I connect them to the mixer. And what I do then on the master is I put a Fruity Soft clipper so it doesn't clip, and then I put Maximus on. And what you want to do with Maximus is you can either have it on master or low, and then you go in here, you go to presets, mastering, and master aid. What master aid will do, what you will hear is that everything gets so loud. But for me, I use it to make everything more clear so I can mix better and more accurate. And for the melody parts, I EQ, and I EQ out as much bass as possible. If you want to see where where your melodies hit, you can have this heat map enabled, and you will see so you don't go too far with the EQing. Then I fix the volumes. So that's basically for all the melody parts. What's this? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then we come into the drums. So for most drums, like the core drums, I call them, like snare, snare, clap, hi-hat. We don't include 808s in kick. Those are core, but not for when I use this. I just EQ out the bass, and then I put a stereo enhancer and max this volume knob. It will be like here, but I drag it down there, and it will make the drums even more loud, and then I can mix them more accurate, basically. So for the 808, I EQ it like this. I want a lot of sub bass, but I also want the bass to be brutal, and I EQ out the high end, because as you know, we've EQ'd out the bass on a lot of the other stuff just for the 808 to take up that space. So we can EQ out the high end so the 808 doesn't take up unnecessary space. I have a wave shaper as well. You can whatever you do with this, if you go up, it will be brutal with the 808. So be careful with this if you want to have it. And then I always add a Fruity Soft clipper for my 808 so it doesn't peak. For the kick here, I've EQ'd it like this, kind of low, because I don't want it to take up too much space. And the other drums are basically, I haven't touched them except for the volume. But yeah, and in the beginning you can, for my intro I used a Fruity Love filter. It's like stock, so it's free. And then I used the preset, where is it? It's here. Nope. Yeah, like simple triangle low pass LFO. It will make it sound like this. I'll show you. But we can listen to the beat now. Yeah, let's hear how it sounds. yeah, so that's basically it. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and I hope you can learn something. I appreciate it. Have a good one.